Welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us for another edition of TazTalks. Today I am joined by the indomitable Reid. I'm sure you know who he is, but before we go any further, Alex, let me hand over to you. Tell everybody who you are, what you're doing, and why you're here.
Did you say indomitable?
I did. That's a big word. Look it up later.
I like that. I am the indomitable Alexander Reid. Yes. And I know Taz because Taz happens to be a master firewalking instructor. And why would you want to do firewalking? I'm a firewalking instructor, and that's how we got talking. And that's why we're talking today, because it's a scary time. But the major message, I jump right to then, is to not be scared, is to have love and peace. And, well, there's not going to be peace because it's a scary world, but it's to follow your highest purpose. And that's how are we going to do that? And that's what we're going to talk about.
Definitely. Well, thanks for the promotion. I'm not a master firewalk instructor. I'm a master at everything else I do. I'm just a firewalk instructor like you, mate. So tell me more about that. What made you want to train firewalking?
Right. Okay. That's my lovely better half. Right. Why do I want to be a firewalking instructor? I never particularly wanted to be a firewalk instructor. But being into martial arts, being bullied as a kid at 5 years old, because I was a kid who asked questions. Why? Why do you have to die? Why is the earth round? And it wasn't cool. And you got bullied. So I was asking big questions about life, the universe, everything. And because I was bullied, I turned to martial arts. I was, rather than in maths or English or playing computer games or being a cool kid, I was in my own adventures, fighting wizards and dragons and monsters.
I do that now.
Exactly. And I still am now. That eternal Peter Pan. And I think it's important for us all to be childlike. We all need to play. I'm not going to ask you how young you are, young lady, but I think you're around the same age as me. And I reckon I've done half of my physical life in this incarnation in reality called Alexander Reid. I mean, I believe I'm eternal, my soul, but physically, I'm going to cease to exist, probably. I want to lead the best life I possibly can lead. And I'm looking for shortcuts and answers. That sounds really hippie and whoopee. But
hey, I do hippie shit. Everybody knows me for hippie shit, so you're fine. Not a problem.
Hippie shit, baby. So, just want to... And as I was bullied, and society is more interested in the here and now, which is important as well, but I also want to know where I'm going. Yeah. What am I preparing for? Some people become religious, and I think it's very important, though, to live here and now. Yeah. I mean, I believe my life is eternal, but with all of I've had so much pain and suffering, and it's given me, we're going to talk a bit about mental health, I believe. We had a little chat just 5 minutes before, and he said, what do you want us to talk about? I don't know what we're going to talk about today.
Me neither, so that's great.
Freestyle it. But that's why I became a master firewalking instructor, because when you walk a fire, it's very scary. People say it's a trick, it's a gimmick, and people, you could just run over it. You're more than likely to, if it's not that hot, you might get a kiss. A kiss is where you get a little blister. But when you walk over really hot fires, they're like 15, 16, 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. If you that is fear. And if you don't change your physiology, your psychology, and we're all vibrating as with ions, electrons, and neutrons, all in a certain configuration. If you don't change your physiology, you're going to burn and get hurt. And that is, how often are you going to walk in fire in life? Probably.
Well, for us, quite a lot.
Yes, but it's a great metaphor. and something which is inconceivable and fear and is primal. So if you can learn how to control yourself, what other areas in your life can you control yourself? And that's ultimately, that was a very long round the houses answer, but that's why I'm a firewalking instructor.
Okay. So was it the bullying at school that led you through? Because I think most people will know you either from TV or from the Alex Reid cage fighter stuff. Was it the bullying that led through to all of that for you?
I wanted to be accepted. All I wanted was love, ultimately. Because when you're ostracized from the group and you don't fit in, you want to be part of the group. But then when I was part of the group, I could never really be part of the group because I didn't see things. I know quite a bit about mental health. I've had in my family, I've seen it a lot. I think we're all slightly on the spectrum. Yeah. And I look at things back to front. Some people call that dyslexia. Yeah. When I start reading something, and I've never been diagnosed. I'm just a gut feeling I've got. Yeah. I look at things differently. I see, and you get laughed at, but it doesn't mean it's wrong, and everything's done with the best intention. But when everybody's going that way, and you say, "Oh, hang on, there's a way that way round. It's a bit quicker." No, you're an idiot. Don't follow us. So.
Yeah, but if you go back to, some of those tribal guys who I insist know far more than we do, they'd see that as being a sacred clown. There'd be a deep, deep, powerful medicine in that.
There is, but a sacred clown, did you say?
Yeah.
Clown. That's the bit I've got to get past. I'm starting to believe in myself. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest messages. I never wanted to be, but I've become a champion for people who are a little bit weird and wonderful and different, and because I've stood up for that, and I detest bullies, and having been bullied, and it's just about because I'm a bit different, and what's normal. But so when you realise what's normal, and maybe all the people going that way, when there's only a small percent going that way, are they lemmings? Are they sheep? I mean, the lemmings, what do? They fall off the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, actually jump off, don't they?
When you start to understand, it's all right to be a bit of a geek when you're young. Yeah. I'm just about to start going into schools to teach children, especially now in this time where we've got so much fear in society. Yeah. And we're controlled in so many ways. I'm not about to do a David Icke conspiracy theory thing here, but there is undoubtedly fear, regardless. Yeah,
and drama. We're massively addicted to drama in our society too.
And science says that doctors, to heal, if you want to heal something, if you think you're going to feel better, the power of placebo is so powerful, more effective than medicine. Science says that. So ultimately, let's just think better. Let's live better lives. And like I started the conversation with, where I want to lead with this is, if the whole planet changes our vibration, starts thinking positive things, we will literally change reality. Because that sounds inconceivable, but there's scientific experiments which actually prove this right, and people like Tesla and Einstein said this 100 odd years ago. Just by the power of thought, imagination.
There's an awful lot that we don't understand because we can't put it down on paper, we can't see it. We're stuck in this. We've got to be able to see it to believe it. And science, you're right, science is starting to catch up now with some of those kind of theories that have always been dismissed as being airy-fairy or hippie for so long. How wonderful that we're now starting to align with the idea of positive thinking, optimism, creating your reality.
There's a paradigm shift. People say there's the term woke. I'm sure people watching this will know what we're talking about. Yeah. I even asked my partner, Nikki, do you reckon you're woke? And she didn't know what it was. I said, well, you're not, if that's the case. But she, by her being around me, sometimes it grounds me a little bit because I understand how her demographic of people think. Yeah. And that's not, and it's not like I'm trying to save her, but you just naturally resonate to each other and you start becoming a bit of each other. So I start being a bit more real and not so airy-fairy and hippie-whoopie, and you could go into a business meeting or a boardroom and you're too hippie and like, whoa, and vice versa. And it's nice. There's, like I said, there's a paradigm shift in society.
There is.
More and more people are talking like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And they're starting to understand we've been, so much has been hidden from us. We could be so much more advanced.
Yeah.
And like I was the 5-year-old kid who was bullied, who was reading books about what it's all about. There's more and more people like that now who're starting to, hold on, there is something. We're growing up and we're starting to get credibility, we're starting to trust ourselves. Yeah. So if you're that kid who is getting a bit bullied and not the cool gang, one day you just might be in the cool gang, but your own cool gang. It's the realization you don't need to be in the cool gang to be cool. And that's about the one thing that I've learned, which has helped me bar none, having so much sadness and misery, feeling suicidal. Yeah. Is loving myself. Yeah.
When did you learn that? How did you learn that?
Well, I went the painful way, mixed with soldiers, fighters. I want to prove myself as a tough guy. It's all right to be, you know. Then I went into the celebrity world. Oh, that's a scary world. And was that something you aimed for, Alex, or did you just end up there by default? No, I always wanted to be famous and celebrated for having accomplished something, but not a celebrity as it is in the word. I like the pat on the back, the cheer of a crowd. That's why I trained diligently as an athlete. Yeah. So I'd win those martial arts competitions. Because look, and I wasn't just winning the martial arts competitions. I was winning against my self, because I didn't feel like I was tough or a man. And for me, being a man was to be able to beat people up in a cage and, look at me. And then you realise, and I was a soldier, I was a paratrooper, and I'm like, mixed with some scary people, and I'm like, ultimately, it's just a little boy crying, wanting love and acceptance. And when you accept that, you don't have to have the judgment or the approval of others. When you approve of yourself, it's so tough. And it's why it's important for strong people to talk like that. Yeah. It's sad. I often think about who was Mrs. Doubtfire?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. How happy amazing he was, and he committed suicide. Yeah. And I've often felt, and this can polarize people, suicidal. Yeah. I've had lots of therapy over it, and I think it's important for people in. I reluctantly say this in my position, but I hate the word celebrity. I'm on that spectrum. For people who are followed and people look at, to be able to talk. People do look up to you, Alex, whether you like it or not. I get it, it's not comfortable, but people do. It's because it's a responsibility. It is. And it's, but also I'm going to get people knock me down because of that, but I'm okay with that. I always think when people are knocking you down because you're in the public eye, or because because people perceive that you're more successful than they are, it always says more about them, doesn't it? It's always because they're looking at something else and doing that whole thing about the grass is greener. Yeah. And I'll sometimes say, well, my grass is greener, but do you know why? Because I watered my grass. I had some real thing. I'm going on tangents. So I'll probably go for it. I've become involved in a parental alienation group. I can't talk too much about it, but I was been involved in them for about a year, and they decided to change the name. I didn't really get too involved. I thought, okay, it's an injustice which is happening in society, and it's. I want to try and change the problem. Yeah. I'm not one like a father for justice, just fight. Let's try and change the root cause. Yeah. So I told them my situation, and they wanted to change the name of the foundation to my father, the Babri Foundation. And like, whoa, because there was some sadness there, which I can't actually go into. Yeah. But long story short, they wanted to change it because they saw me as a celebrity, and I actually didn't like that. And I'm like, but they said, look, you will help. Because your story, it's a beacon of light for hope. Yeah. So, and that actually was why they've changed the name of this parental alienation organisation now to the Babri Foundation. My father in spirit, he's here right now with us. He's smiling, very happy about that, and that's okay. That I feel good about that. That's where I'm doing something positive. And as an actor, I wanted to be a soldier to change the world. All this nastiness, go and kill kids in other countries. That helps, doesn't it? That changes. Might makes right. I'm right, you're wrong. My God's better than your God. But as an actor or as a filmmaker, that's why I love entertainment and I like the media, because I have the ability to nudge souls.
Yeah, I like that, nudge souls. That sounds good.
And that rather than a gun, a camera.
Yeah.
And it relates almost so I do my training. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the firewalking, ultimately, what we're trying to do is raise people's vibrations.
Yeah.
And you tell me about. I'd like to hear about you and your why you became a firewalker.
Why did I become a firewalker? I'd always been fascinated by fire. That's the point of being a pyromaniac. But since being a child, I was fascinated by fire. And of course now, I spent a long time working with shamans and medicine people and learning about the elements. And a lot of the stuff I do now is around spiritual empowerment and training and stuff like that. A couple of the firewalking guys that are on my spiritual empowerment training programs. And fire's kind of my element. And I think this goes up at a bit of a tangent as well. Back in my past, because I had a bout where I was really suicidal as well. It's how I ended up breaking my back. But I used to take all kinds of crazy risks. And I think part of the fire attraction for me was because it kind of felt dangerous. And if I could do this, I was meant to be here. So I did a firewalk. I managed to get myself onto a charity firewalk some years back. And then I ended up training kind of by accident. My wife's company was doing some PR for the guys we trained with. And they said, well, one of you needs to explore this so that you've got, bird's eye view, as it were. And that's how I ended up doing it. And I thought we'd just learn to walk over fire, but of course we didn't. There's so much more into it. And one of the first things that I did, although the mindset stuff is amazing, because I have such a strong spiritual core as well, one of the first things I did when I started working on my own was kind of strip out a lot of the raw level 10 state stuff and bring it back to working with the element of fire and raising our own vibration. And when I teach it now, I don't do the charity firewalk route. I use it as part of my spiritual empowerment programs. Yeah. And it's when we work with the element of fire, and it's almost a spiritual gauntlet. It's working with the ancestor energies. It's working with the energy of the fire.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
And this isn't an attack. I'm actually interested. People say, and I say it myself. I want to know why you say it. I'm quite spiritual.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
For me, it means I have a deep faith in there being other forces that we can't see. I don't prescribe to organised religion at all. Not my bag. Too much control. That's one of the things that drew me to shamanism, because there's not a rule book as such. There are kind of parameters. There are ideas. There are ideals. There are ways to live that are all to do with self-responsibility.
Do you worship anything?
Yes.
Mother Earth?
Yes.
The fire?
Yes. Anything elemental. Some things that are primordial, that have been around for longer than us. I believe that everything has an energy. That's where the animism part of my personal belief comes in. So the stones that we would use in a sweat, if you do sweat lodges, I don't, because it's not part of my heritage. Those stones have ancient wisdom. What have they seen? What have they experienced? They've been here for much longer than us. The trees, the plants, the skies, everything has an energy. So if everything has an energy, we can learn from things. And for me, where it all goes a little bit tits up is when we put ourselves in this position where we think we have dominion over all things and we're at the top of a pyramid. Whereas for me, it's more about working and living in partnership with all things.
I've studied lots of religions. I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And I don't consider myself religious at all.
No, me neither.
I mean, I believe in reincarnation, and I've been here.
Me too.
In this physical form. Yeah. Many different guises of this physical form, around 900 times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just experience it as a man, a woman, a Buddhist, an Asian, an Indian.
Well, this is just your earth suit, isn't it?
Yeah. My sleeve, what we call it. Going off on a tangent. It's a nice tangent.
Tangents are good. It's all cool.
But what I was going to say is, I mean, if you believe we're all the same thing, I'm the same thing as this computer.
Well, I believe we're all connected, at least.
But we're all, in terms of, we're all connected. We're all ions, neutrons, atoms, electrons, all vibrating. But I think there's something more than me, than this. Although I'm the same thing as this jumper I'm wearing, just vibrating a different configuration. When we die, there's the 8 gram. We instantly weigh 8 grams less. Yeah. So what is that? I mean, that's the soul. That's untangibly, well, science can probably explain it now, but
that's certainly where that theory comes from, that your soul weighs 8 grams, isn't it?
Having studied, so inanimate objects, you were talking about the stones. I'm gone quite convoluted. The stones in a sweat lodge. Yeah. I know about this. Let's talk about crystals. Yeah. That's probably, people more know about crystals. Crystals, are they intelligent? So I believe what you're saying, the stones have an intelligence. How can that have an intelligence? Do they have a spirit? Because I can comprehend in my limited comprehension. Yeah, all right, I've got this ape suit, well, a human suit, called human, but that's just like a suit. And then the information called Alexander Reid will disappear and go, well, not disappear, will go off and wear another suit. Yeah. So that's there's the car, there's the computer of the car, and then there's the driver. So the car is my body. Yeah. The computer is my mind, and the driver is my soul. Yeah. So I come in and out. But do souls, or is it a different intelligence going to stones and crystals? Because people are big on crystals. I'm intrigued what you think.
Crunch, we should be on there for about a week, Alex. We need to start a series. I don't necessarily see that as being a soul in the same way. I see it as being an energy. For me, there's a difference. There's a definition between a soul, which in the conversation we're having is the element of us that sits in a body while we're on Earth, but then flips into something else. Yeah. There are energies which are a different type of intelligence that we can tune into and learn to connect with on a different plane.
Is it like a VHS cassette? I'm going to play, this is a love music, I'm going to put this in. Oh, I feel nice and loving. Same thing with a crystal or a stone.
I don't know, you see, that's the interesting thing with crystals and stones, isn't it? Because we all go on about, well, this crystal means this and this crystal means that. And I work with them, don't get me wrong. But this whole idea that, I don't know, rose quartz, for instance, is a good all-round gentle healing stone. At some point, that's been written down because the first dude who picked up a piece of rose quartz and went, that makes me feel good, therefore it must mean this. Yeah. I think we need to stop buying into the prescriptive things that have been written down by other people in terms of what different things do for us.
I'll tell you where I'm going with this, because I know you can go in a room and you can cut the tension with a knife. Yeah. Different people. So people give off energies. And then I believe rooms, objects, inanimate objects like a car, it can hold on to energy.
It can. That's why you need to be saging the hell out of everything. Yeah.
And so if you go in and you put anger into a room, some people into a house, some people go, oh, this house feels horrible. It's horrible things have gone on here. And vice versa, you can change that. So that's why I think when you start to become, and I've started to become more and more aware. I'm meditating every single day. Yeah. I've known about it for years. I've got all these tools. Got to use them.
It's using them, isn't it? You know, it's that whole thing about a screwdriver. Screwdriver's crap if you don't know how to use it or you never pick it up. Yeah.
When you become aware of what's going on, and ultimately, I'm going to go back to it. The first message I started off with. Let's all be a bit nicer. Yeah. Let's all start living with happiness. I hate it. I have arguments with Nicola, my fiance, because the energy. I instantly say, stop that. I don't want that. And I'm so anal on it. I'm like, come on, let's not. And if she's angry, and it can affect me, and I can feel my energy go down. And I don't like that, because that's what causes cancer, disease, a low immune system. If you've got a great, strong immune system, you haven't got to worry about any of this.
Look at the word, it's dis-ease, isn't it?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, so it's all about raising your vibration, being happy, and that will cure you of everything.
But it's knowing how to as well, and it's so easy. One of the things that I remember learning when I was learning about the medicine path is the danger of them falling into the judgment trap. So you and I both meditate regularly. The judgment trap would be thinking, well, I meditate regularly and you don't, so therefore I'm more spiritual than you. Yeah. Which of course then downgrades you again. So you've got to be so careful and watch that line, haven't you, between discernment and judgment.
I said that a minute ago about, and I asked Nicola, are you woke? What's woke? I guess you're not then. I didn't have judgment, but you can. I have in the past. Not with plonkers. I call them plonkers. People on the street who are not nice. Listen, look at this little person here. Where is she?
Oh, where's she gone?
She's suffering. She's poor little thing. And I have anger because she's suffering. Yesterday, she had emergency surgery to save her life because she had to have a womb removed. She's been bred. She's been abused. When we picked her up, she only had 2 or 3 letters. She's only 2 years old. Oh, bless her. Nose has been broken, back leg. I'm like, again, not being religious. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. I have made bad choices, and we all have. And I'm like, if I went back, I've done some silly things. And when you don't really understand, when you start to become aware and understand of how to live life a bit better, then the person who's chastising me the most is myself. I detest. I used to bully a girl when I was a kid. I've actually gone and apologised to her, and she said, "Don't be silly." And I've gone back and forgiven myself. But it's horrible. We've done horrible things. So it's again about being nice. I've gone off on a right tangent. I forgot where we were.
But the point is, we've all done things that we would look back and go, "Oh, that was a bit silly. I might do that differently now." But isn't that just part of the learning process? So for me, this is one of my own theories. It's not from any particular spiritual path, it's just something I've come to learn and believe over the years, is that although I believe we come here to learn things that we need corporeal form to learn, and sometimes the teachings will keep coming back until we've learned them, I reckon that we all have one big kind of overarching life lesson. And that will keep coming back to bite us in the backside, even when we've learned it, because whatever is out there is going, I'm just testing you. Are you still on track? You still it? For me, I reckon mine is bullying, because that goes right back through. I was bullied at school. I was in an abusive relationship. I had some work bullying stuff that I would call bullying. And now I look at that and think, well, actually, I can only be bullied if I accept that I am a bullied, that I am a bullying victim. So I look at it differently now. But I think those teachings are going to keep coming back throughout my life. But the difference is now I can spot them and react differently.
How have you got over that? You've gone, I've done lots of different therapy techniques. Yeah. I'm interested in yours. Have you gone back and talked to yourself as a little person?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, absolutely. So that
I can see you love yourself. Yeah. And that's so great.
Yeah, I do. And I forgive myself a lot. And I always say my boss is me in 5 years' time. If ever I'm struggling or wondering what to do, I will cast my thoughts forward or my spirit forward and go and ask me in 5 years' time, because she will be my hardest taskmaster, but she will always have my best interests at heart. If
we're going to get even woo-woo here.
It's all good.
On planet Earth right now, in this mission vehicle called Alexander Reid, this is the vehicle, but ultimately I've got a whole team of people.
Yeah.
And my highest number one commander is Alex Reid. Well, he might not be called Alex Reid, but it's me. All right. But the thing is, I keep asking to gurus, rabbis, imams, priests, witch doctors, ayahuasca ceremonies, all of this stuff, right? I've had enough.
Yeah.
Come on. All right. I believe there's something beyond my comprehension, supreme creator that's created me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. And there's something called bread of shame. If you give a child everything, it doesn't appreciate it. So it doesn't have any comprehension or appreciation. So that could be related to eating the apple in the Garden of Eden. How could you? God says to Adam and Eve, "Don't eat that apple." It's like telling a 5-year-old, "Don't eat the chocolate sweet."
Don't hit that big red button. Well, this one.
Long story. So anyway, I've come away and I've got all this pain and suffering because I need to learn how to appreciate. I've got free will. All right. This is my question to all of the spiritual experts. I've had enough of that. Can't you just give me appreciation straight away? No. Without all the suffering?
Because then what would you learn? And it's
why do I need to learn? If God is so powerful, why can't I just exist?
But that's where you're assuming that God is so powerful, and that's putting God in control of your life.
Yes.
I personally don't see God as some beardy dude in a caftan.
Well, why would he be a human?
Precisely. Why would it be anything? I don't know whether it's in human form or whether it's just an energetic form or whether it's just universal energy. Who knows? Well, but if we want to develop, surely we need the knocks in order to.
I get that. I've asked this question for decades.
You're not going to get the answer though, because it's got to come from you.
I'm starting to. Yeah. And that's the one thing that stops me from killing myself.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it many times. Sometimes out of utter despair and sadness, and sometimes out of pure curiosity.
Yeah.
As an experiment. All right. Yeah. Does it I get what I actually can get what Jim Carrey says. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what if we all, excuse my language, we all fuck it up and we blow this planet up. Doesn't matter. I mean, because we can do it all again. Yeah. It's just a speck. But the reason why I haven't done any of that is because I know I'll come back and do it all again. And I've got this opportunity here. What's that shortcut? Look, there's some horrible things. And listen, I've got so much passion and love. I've got this little person who needs me.
Oh. That's the thing, isn't it? Who needs you to bring your A game today? Who is it that needs you to be there? I was laughing when you said that, because so many times through my coaching work and support work, I've worked with a lot of people now who've been suicidal.
I need me. Forget anyone else. I need me.
Yeah, you need. Precisely, yeah. You need you. But that's one of the things I've said to those. One of the things that stopped me, that made me stop trying to escape from life, was this idea that what if I get out now and then I've got to come back and go through it all over again, just to get back to this point.
Correct. You want to say, yeah. And what? Hang on, that's silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
I can understand. What's that thing? If you go halfway across swimming the channel and you get knackered, you can either turn around and go back, or you can keep going. It's the same distance.
Yeah. But I understand it, because this is enough. I don't want this anymore. Have you seen the film, the Tom Cruise film, where it's a science fiction film when he gets killed and there's an alien and he keeps repeating it?
Don't think I've seen that.
I really recommend. I can't think the Day After Tomorrow.
Okay.
And he's like a soldier.
Okay.
He's not. He's a scientist, but he becomes like the super soldier because he lives like about 250,000 lives, because he keeps getting killed and he gets better every time. But I don't know why I said that. My brain's gone off on a tangent.
It'll come back later. So to spin it all back around, so we've both been through some shitty times. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned that you could maybe share with other people who might be struggling? Because particularly while we're locked down, so many people are struggling right now. What can they do, Alex? What have you learned?
It's so simple. It's having been so miserable, it's difficult to see the wood for the trees sometimes. So there's two things. If you can't see what's going on and all you're doing is victim mindset, poor me, then that's tough. That's when you need, that's a serious mental illness. I had that, but I also had, thank goodness, my higher self or intervention, benevolent forces coming in to like wake me up and say, right, come on. At least I might be feeling crap, but I've got another voice. At least I've got another voice. And you can choose which voice do you want to listen to. Yeah, I can hear the negative stuff, but I can also hear this. All right, I don't feel like doing it. I mean, at the moment, even now, I don't feel great. I get moments. It's a scary time, especially with lockdown. It's scary because I've just invested a lot of money into a business, into my fitness business. I run a boot camp. If anyone wants to come along, you get to come. I'm doing them online at the moment. But I've just invested all this money into a business to get myself out there. I get a kind of performing, and me and my partner, we're trying for a baby. Fingers crossed we will have a baby this year. And it's all very well getting the baby, but then I've got to provide for the baby. So that's nervous. so I'm trying to make money, and I'm scared. And then I'm like, hold on, Reid. What am I scared about? Look what I'm talking to you on now. On, is it Instagram Live?
Zoom.
No, Zoom. You can see I've got a furniture. I've got a dog. I've got some furniture. And I'm like, I am a king in this world. I'm in the elite level of people who have got money in this world. I mean, I'm not rich, but I mean, the elite level is like there's 1%. But I mean, below that, I don't know. Someone can probably tell me. Maybe I think it's like 10% of people have got a bit of money. They've got furniture. They've got a roof over their heads. The rest of the world is in poverty, absolute poverty. So when you realise that, and there's so much, what am I complaining about? Yeah. I'm comparing myself to. I have done this to other celebrities, to actors. I've had some good jobs, and I'm like, well, it's not fair. Why have they got that? Why have they got this? And I've hold on, look what I've got. Yeah. When you start to appreciate what you've actually got, just being alive, that's when you get really hippie, like just breathing. Oh, I've got indigestion. And that's when it gets even deeper, when you can start to become in tune with your whole body, and you start to love yourself. From someone who would throw myself, I'd have over 300 fights. I've done silly things which I've been petrified to do. And let's look at the whole celebrity media thing. I got the highest vote in the history of Big Brother in 2010. And the day before I went into the Big Brother house, I wasn't going to go in. I had like a mind man. It was NLP, no, EFT. We were doing all sorts of techniques, and he used to train me for my fights. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I've got big on the celebrity angle, and he's like, right, okay. So I thought I needed to train to how to cope with this weird world that I didn't have any comprehension of. I've done acting. Acting's one thing, but being a celebrity, I was on the front page of newspapers every day.
And they hauled you over the coals a lot, didn't they?
I was hated. I was 40 to 1 odds to win. I went and I was booed. I actually had things thrown at me. And I thought, my mind man said, I don't want to go in. I don't want to be famous being famous. This is bad. He said, Alex, you've got to go in. You've got not to win the show, just to show the real you. If you show them the real you, you might not win the show, but you win in life. Yeah. And that's what I did. Yeah. I remember there was all sorts of, when I went in the house, there was all sorts of groups, and Big Brother purposely tried to do that to create tension. And I never was any part of any group. I was just me. I showed myself, and I used, just be nice to everyone. And there was one time when I felt a bit upset. This just sounds soppy. I felt like crying, but I didn't. I took a deep breath. I remember coming into the bedroom area, and I said to anyone, who wants a cup of tea? Anybody? And Vinnie Jones went, oh, bloody hell. Oh, Jesus. And he said something really horrible. And I walked out, and I was like, so I walked back in. I said, would you like a cup of tea, Vinnie? Just nice. I didn't carry on. And that was because part of me wanted to get angry and aggressive and fight. Yeah. But I was conscious of, as you get older, you start to think, how's this best going to serve me? When you've got 20 million people watching you and you've got cameras, you're like, all right, okay, that's not nice. So that was in the back of my head. Like, and I was upset, and I'm like, he's not showing what to do. So I just thought, would you like a cup of tea, Vinnie? So, and I went out, and I didn't realise until afterwards. I felt upset, and I just went and regrouped. But that was the sort of thing I believe that helped me win the show. Yeah. I remember George, Boy George. Yeah. Boy George said, he quoted that in the paper, and he said, that's exactly how people should be. It's so very good in English. It was wonderful. And that was great, because what it showed was, I remember that moment vividly, weirdly, and because I remember Boy George said something about it afterwards. Yeah. I was upset, I was angry, and I'm like, I thought about it, and I thought, I still felt the pain and the sadness, but I was nice. Yeah. And weirdly, you don't always see being nice as being powerful and effective. But what did it ultimately do? It got me the highest vote. in the history of Big Brother. 69% of the vote, 20 million people. I went from 41 odds to win. So it was quite a nice pat on the back.
So there's loads we can learn from that. Alex, I could talk to you all day. We're about out of time, but if people want to catch up with you after this, what's the best place for them to find you, to find out more about you? Where do you hang out?
Follow me on Instagram, Alex Reid Official, Twitter at Alex Reid, and Alexander Reid on Facebook. I've got my boot camps, Bootcamp UK Mill Hill. Just send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. I've also got my YouTube channel, Alex Reid, Alexander Reid. I'm sure we'll put a link on here, and I love you all guys. Taz, it's been lovely to talk to you.
You too, it really has. Take care.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.